The block where Ruby's father lived before he fled Vienna in 1938 still stands. Inside, Ruby has come to see an empty apartment, almost identical to the one her father lived in.
Wow. Well, it's not small, so they weren't poor. So you think he was pulled out of here and dragged off? I wonder if he thought they were going to kill him. Well, there must have been panic.
Historian Professor Tony Kushner is meeting Ruby here to help her discover how her father escaped the country.
Hi, nice to meet you. So my dad escaped and went to Belgium. So how did he get to Belgium?
Refugee journeys are very rarely straightforward. And in this case, it's particularly complicated. So this first document shows that he's been successful in not only getting out of Austria, but also reaching his first place of moving on, hopefully, towards America.
Is that my dad? Oh, my God.
This says that he is now in Belgium. What these documents are about are registering with the Belgian police.
How did he end up in Belgium?
We know he has to leave Vienna quickly, and what he's doing is going an unusual route of travel, which he's going to fly.
I love that he went by plane. That was unusual.
It's unusual for anyone to get on an aeroplane in the 1930s, let alone someone who's a desperate refugee.
Ruby's father travelled alone, flying from Vienna to Prague and on to Rotterdam in the Netherlands. He crossed the border into Belgium by train.
The chances are that he would have flown with one of the largest European companies, Sabina. This is the luxury end of the market. This is selling a lifestyle. This is way before the cheap airlines of today.
How much was the flight?
I think in today's currency, we're talking about £2,000.
An expensive plane fare gave Ruby's father a chance of a safe passage across Europe. Jews were allowed to buy tickets and travel supplies. Money and valuables were to be left behind. But Ruby's father seems to have managed to keep some of his money out of Nazi hands.
There is talk in some of the documents of a Belgian bank account.
Yeah.
Somehow he's got money out of Austria.
Was it illegal?
It may have been not fully kosher.
Yeah, not kosher. That's a good word.
He has enough chutzpah to do this.
I'm so proud. He was charming. He knew how to charm people out of their pants.
So he is in Belgium for the better part of a year. He has not got a straightforward route to America. He's got some of the paperwork, so he's stranded there. The back of his mind is worried that they may deport him back to Austria, which would be a total disaster.
But he was savvy.
He's certainly willing to take risks.
Yeah, I'm very much like that. So he told me he stowed away on a ship and he dressed as an American with a fedora. Do you think he stowed away for the whole journey, like under a lifeboat?
From various documents, we know that he did stow away, that he didn't have a legal ticket. And that is remarkable and very rare. Stowing away isn't an everyday occurrence. It's possible he sneaked on board or that he bribed his way at the port. The problem is going to be when he arrives.
Yeah.
If he is caught, then he could be deported again.
So they didn't want Jews in the United States?
There's a huge section of American society that's hostile to immigrants and hostile to Jewish refugees particularly.
So what about my mother? Did she get out first?
Your father leaves in September 1938.
Right.
Berta is left in Vienna on her own.
Right.
She has relatively close relatives in Chicago, and that is going to strengthen her case to get a visa to America. She goes via Belgium. She would have probably got there by train and then on to the States.
Look how beautiful. I heard that she got on the train and like Nazis stood up because she looked so Aryan.
Well, I think it shows the absolute lunacy of Nazi race science, that they have an image of the Jew which doesn't bear any resemblance to reality. There's something very significant about this document. It's the date that is, I think, very revealing. It's dated the 16th of December 1938. Now, this is significant because in terms of the persecution of the Jews, we've already passed another milestone, and a really horrendous one. That on the 9th and 10th of November 1938, not just in Germany, but also in Austria, we have the Kristallnacht pogrom.
What does Kristallnacht mean?
It means the night of the broken glass.
Kristallnacht was a series of orchestrated attacks across the German Reich, targeting Jewish businesses, homes, and synagogues. Jews were beaten and thousands arrested. The attacks in Vienna were particularly brutal.
She never mentioned it. She never mentioned, oh, by the way, I was there for Kristallnacht. I thought that happened, after they were here. Do you think that explains why she was out of her mind?
I think it didn't help that there is a sense of dislocation, of loss, but also of trauma.
She was hysterical and neurotic. And I don't know if everybody who experienced this, their personalities would change like that. I understand trauma, but then she lived till 90. Was she in a state of trauma for that many years? A whole life wasted.
In November 1938, Ruby's mother Berta was a new bride, but her husband had already fled Vienna. Ruby wants to see the synagogue where her parents married.
I know my parents got married here because I have the documents, and I got some pictures of what it used to look like. So Temple Gaza, where is it? This? That doesn't look anything like the picture. Where is it? It's not here. Where did it go? Where is the temple?
3 months after Ruby's parents married in the Leopoldstadt temple, it was completely destroyed on Kristallnacht.
I didn't realize my mother saw Kristallnacht when the Jews really were being ripped apart. She must have been terrified. If my mother had once mentioned what happened, it would have broken every barrier down. I would have had compassion. The parents that I had when I was growing up do not relate at all to what I'm finding out. They are completely different people. I just thought they were monsters. Now I get it that she was 24. Clearly she was traumatized, but just give me a clue. She became a kind of ingrown toenail, a housewife that was so angry, but I couldn't figure out, was she bitter about me? That's what I thought. One conversation, if she had broken down in tears and said, here's what I left, my heart would have bled for her. I had no idea. Doesn't mean I forgive them completely, because I think just give me one conversation. One day of crying would have done it.